The serene dawn painted the skies over Jetavana. The air was calm, carrying whispers of rustling leaves. Disciples gathered around, seated in quiet anticipation. A golden light filtered through the trees, falling gently on the Buddha's serene form. He surveyed his disciples, his gaze reflecting compassion and wisdom. He raised his hand slightly, signaling the beginning of a profound teaching. The root of suffering lies in attachment and ignorance, the Buddha began. His voice calm yet resonant. But despair can be extinguished like the flame of a flickering lamp. The disciples leaned closer, their faces earnest, seeking guidance for their restless hearts. Ananda, the Buddha, addressed his close attendant. What binds the heart most deeply in the shadows of despair? Ananda, his head bowed in reflection, answered, Master, it is the relentless yearning for what is lost or unattainable that clouds the heart. The Buddha nodded gently, his expression approving. You have spoken wisely, Ananda, but let us examine further, he said, his tone steady and inviting. He gestured to a small bird perched serenely on a low branch nearby. Observe this bird. Content with a berry and a song, the Buddha said, his voice filled with reverence. It does not lament the skies it has not yet flown, nor the fruits it has not tasted. The disciples glanced at the bird, their minds pondering the wisdom in its simplicity. Gratitude transforms the mind from scarcity to abundance, the Buddha continued, his words flowing like a tranquil stream. In this interconnected existence, he explained, each being relies on countless others for its sustenance and joy. He shifted his gaze across the circle of disciples, his eyes resting on each face briefly. Let me share a tale of a farmer I once met on the dusty roads of Magadha, the Buddha began, his voice carrying the rhythm of distant memories. This farmer approached me, his face lined with worry, his spirit heavy with the weight of failure, the Buddha recounted. He lamented his failing crops, the cruelty of nature, and the barrenness of his fields. The disciples listened intently, their breaths held in expectation. I asked him, what sustains your spirit amidst such trials? Good man? The farmer looked at me, puzzled by my question. My children bring me fleeting joy even in the darkest hours, he finally admitted, his eyes shimmering with truth. The Buddha paused, allowing the weight of the revelation to settle over his disciples. And so, I told him, cultivate the joy that resides within, just as you tend to your fields. His words carried the rhythm of ancient truth, echoing in the hearts of those who listened. Gratitude begins with acknowledging the smallest blessings, the Buddha said, his voice firm and steady. It is like planting seeds in fertile soil, requiring patience and care. The disciples nodded, their faces reflecting an understanding that was slowly dawning. For the farmer, his children's laughter became the rays of light breaking through the storms of hardship. The Buddha concluded, in gratitude, even the most desolate soul can find a path to renewal, he affirmed with gentle conviction. But to discover this path, one must practice awareness of the present moment, he added, weaving mindfulness into his teaching. Each breath we take connects us to life, to those who came before, and those who will follow, he explained. The Buddha paused, the silence around him reverent and heavy with the weight of his words. When you breathe, reflect on the air. It sustains you and flows from the endless cycles of nature. The disciples closed their eyes, following his guidance, their breaths deliberate and measured. Gratitude springs from realizing that even the smallest acts are miracles of interconnected existence, he said softly. Ananda, he called again, bringing his attendant back from meditation. Speak now, and share a moment for which your heart feels gratitude. Ananda hesitated, his gaze lowering momentarily. Master, I recall the kindness of a stranger who shared food with me during a journey when I was hungry. His voice trembled, laden with the weight of memory. And what do you feel in remembering this, Ananda? The Buddha asked, his voice nurturing and encouraging. A sense of warmth, as though the act of kindness lives on within me, Ananda replied, his tone reflecting quiet revelation. The Buddha nodded, his smile faint yet illuminating. Such is the power of gratitude. It rewires the heart and mind, he said. By remembering kindness, you transform the past into a source of strength for your present, the Buddha continued. Gratitude is a bridge linking the sorrows of today with the promises of tomorrow, he said. He turned his gaze to the horizon, where the sun now shone brightly, casting shadows that danced through the trees. It is within you to choose which seeds to nurture, he said, his voice clear and unwavering. Let us spend this day in mindful reflection, cultivating gratitude for the gifts often unseen, the Buddha instructed. The disciples murmured their agreement, their hearts and minds opening to the teaching. Begin with the earth beneath your feet and the sky above, he guided them, his tone infused with tenderness. Express gratitude for the food you eat, the people who labor for your well-being, he added. As you express gratitude, feel it deeply within, not as a fleeting thought, but as enduring awareness, he taught. In time, gratitude becomes a natural state of the heart, leading to inner tranquility, he emphasized. The Buddha's words settled over the grove like a soft rain nourishing parched soil. The journey of gratitude is the journey home to yourself, he concluded. The disciples sat silently, their hearts absorbing the teachings like the earth absorbs rain. In their meditation, they envisioned the interconnectedness of life, the multitude of blessings unseen. The sun climbed higher, illuminating the grove where the seeds of wisdom and gratitude were sown. Another day began in the grove of Jetavana, the air fragrant with blossoms and filled with the songs of morning birds. Disciples gathered once more, their robes rustling softly as they seated themselves under the canopy of ancient trees. The Buddha arrived with measured steps, his serene presence commanding attention yet offering comfort in equal measure. The journey to understanding is as infinite as the stars, the Buddha said, his voice calm and steady as flowing water. Gratitude must be cultivated as a habit of the mind, he continued, his gaze sweeping across the attentive faces before him. Mindful gratitude transforms fleeting moments into enduring blessings, weaving threads of abundance into the fabric of daily life. He reached down and picked up a single leaf from the earth, its veins delicate yet strong. Are these shadows the reality? He asked gently, or are they mere projections of our perceptions? The disciples pondered his question, sensing the profound truth hiding within the simple interplay of light and darkness. The shadows exist because of the light, the Buddha said. They are shaped by the flicker and dance of the flame. The answer lies in embracing what is here. Now, he explained, seeing each moment as both fleeting and eternal. He seated himself on the grass, his posture embodying the calm he sought to impart. Let me share an encounter that illumines this truth, he said, his tone carrying the promise of wisdom. Years ago, I met a nobleman who had wealth beyond measure but lived in constant dissatisfaction, the Buddha began. He approached me, seeking answers to his emptiness despite possessing what others dreamed of, he recounted. I asked him, do you enjoy your meals, nobleman, or taste the waters you drink? He hesitated, confused by my question. Uncertainty may appear overwhelming in the absence of clarity, the Buddha explained. But it is transformed when illuminated by wisdom. The disciples murmured softly, recognizing the weight of this truth in their own lives. I told him, taste each bite, feel each sip. In small acts, gratitude awakens to life's richness. The Buddha paused, his words settling into the silence, as profound as the stillness of a lake. Gratitude is not a grand gesture but a series of mindful acts woven into the daily rhythm of life, he said. To practice gratitude, One must begin by noticing the unnoticed blessings surrounding them, he instructed. His tone both firm and gentle. Ananda, the Buddha called upon his devoted attendant. Tell me, how often do you give thanks for the simplicity of the air you breathe? Ananda looked up, his expression thoughtful. Master, I am ashamed to admit that such thoughts rarely grace my awareness, he replied. His honesty unshielded. The Buddha nodded, his expression both understanding and unwavering. It is not uncommon, Ananda, yet this is why practice is necessary, he said, his tone encouraging. Close your eyes now, and breathe deeply. Let your awareness embrace the miracle that sustains your life, he instructed the assembly. Master, how can we practice this balance in our own lives? The Buddha turned to him, his gaze filled with warmth and encouragement. Start by observing yourself. Rahula, gratitude arises when we acknowledge the interconnected nature of life, he added, his voice resonant with compassion. As the meditation concluded, the disciples opened their eyes, their faces reflecting renewed understanding. This is the first step in mindful gratitude, the Buddha continued. To slow down and truly observe what sustains us. He gestured toward a lotus blooming in a nearby pond, its petals glistening with morning dew. This lotus grows from the mud below, untainted, offering its beauty freely to the world, the Buddha said. It teaches us to rise above challenges, to give ourselves fully to the present moment, he explained. In gratitude practice, see each moment as both a challenge and a gift, blooming through your awareness. The Buddha stood and walked slowly among his disciples, his footsteps quiet yet purposeful. Let us not merely contemplate gratitude but embody it through deliberate action, he said. Today, each of you will dedicate a moment to express thanks, either through words or deeds, he instructed. The disciples exchanged glances, their hearts resonating with the weight of the task yet eager to fulfill it. Begin with the simple. Thank a companion, honor a laborer, or bless the meal that nourishes your body, the Buddha suggested. Gratitude grows through expression, for in giving thanks, you nurture both the receiver and your own heart, he added. The sun climbed higher as the disciples dispersed to carry out their assignments, each guided by the Buddha's teachings. By evening, they returned to the grove, their faces glowing with the light of shared experiences. Ananda spoke first, his voice filled with sincerity and humility. Master, I thank the elder who tends the monastery grounds for his tireless care and dedication, Ananda began, his eyes filled with tears. And he said no one had ever expressed such gratitude to him before, he recounted. The Buddha nodded, his gaze warm and encouraging. And what did you feel in witnessing his joy, Ananda? He asked. Instead, help them see their transient nature and discover their inner light, the disciples nodded. Understanding the importance of extending guidance and support in a world filled with uncertainty. You have witnessed the truth of interconnection. In gratitude, one heart uplifts another, and both are nourished, he said. Other disciples shared their experiences, recounting moments of gratitude that touched both giver and receiver in unexpected ways. The Buddha listened intently, his silence amplifying their words, his presence affirming their revelations. Gratitude is a chain reaction of blessings, he said at last, his tone firm yet kind. It multiplies in its sharing, extending beyond what one can perceive, the Buddha explained. When practiced mindfully, gratitude transforms not only the individual but the community, fostering harmony and mutual respect. He returned to his seat, his posture unassuming yet filled with grace. Tonight, reflect on how gratitude has enriched your understanding, and share your reflections tomorrow, the Buddha instructed. Remember, the journey of gratitude is both internal and shared, leading to an ever-expanding awareness of life's gifts, he concluded. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts brimming with the wisdom imparted that day. As the sun set over Jetavana, the grove was filled with a profound sense of peace. The promise of transformation ignited within each spirit. Another day had passed, and with it, the seeds of mindful gratitude were sown deeper into the soil of their souls. Another day dawned in the sacred grove of Jetavana, sunlight spilling gently through the dense canopy of ancient trees. Disciples assembled in silence, their hearts eager to absorb the teachings that had already transformed their understanding. The Buddha appeared, his footsteps soft yet purposeful, his countenance serene as the still waters of a lotus pond. The journey of gratitude remains incomplete without compassion, the Buddha began, his voice imbued with profound calm and conviction. True gratitude extends itself to others, becoming the foundation for acts of kindness and selfless giving, he continued. The disciples listened attentively, their expressions reflecting a mixture of curiosity and anticipation for the lessons to unfold. The Buddha paused, surveying his disciples with an air of gentle encouragement. Let me share the story of a dying nobleman I encountered during my wanderings, he began. This man had lived a life of opulence but was consumed by regret for the suffering he had caused. Others, the Buddha recounted. The disciples leaned forward, their breaths held in quiet anticipation of the tale's unfolding. I sat beside him, his body frail and his spirit burdened by the weight of his choices, the Buddha said. He spoke of the lives he had wronged, the hungry he had neglected, and the wealth he had hoarded, he continued. A river does not choose where its ripples travel, but it can ensure its waters remain pure and life-giving. Similarly, a leader cannot control the farthest reaches of their influence but can root their intentions in wisdom and compassion. The disciples exchanged glances, their thoughts weaving through the layers of wisdom imparted. The Buddha's voice softened, drawing them further into the circle of his teachings. The nobleman called for his servants, distributing his wealth to feed the hungry and clothe the destitute, he continued. In his final days, he found peace, not in retaining but in giving, transforming his regret into a legacy of compassion, the Buddha concluded. The disciples sat in awe, the story resonating deeply within their hearts, sparking reflections on their own lives. Compassion is gratitude in action, the Buddha said, his voice resonant with the truth of his words. It is a force that binds us together, illuminating the darkness of suffering and isolation, he elaborated. Ananda, the Buddha called to his devoted attendant, tell me, how has compassion shaped your understanding of gratitude? Ananda, his hands folded in reverence, replied, Master, I have learned that by extending kindness, I deepen my own sense of connection and purpose. The Buddha smiled, his expression warm and approving. Ananda has spoken wisely, the Buddha affirmed, his gaze encompassing the circle of disciples before him. To practice compassion is to acknowledge the interconnectedness of all life, a truth inseparable from gratitude, he explained. Let us now engage in an exercise to cultivate compassion within our hearts, he instructed, his tone gentle yet commanding. To face them with grace is to discover true strength. The disciples nodded, their minds gradually absorbing the profound wisdom in the Buddha's analogy of the lotus and the storm. She embodied her vision through action, inspiring others through her example. A leader's actions speak louder than their words, resonating long after their voice falls silent. The grove was filled with a profound stillness, the disciples' collective meditation creating an atmosphere of palpable serenity. By cultivating such thoughts, you open your heart to the boundless potential of compassion, the Buddha concluded. When the meditation ended, the disciples opened their eyes, their expressions reflecting newfound understanding and inner peace. Compassion is not limited to those we love. It must extend to strangers and even those who have wronged us, the Buddha said. To forgive is to liberate yourself from the chains of resentment, a gift both to the giver and the receiver, he explained. The Buddha stood and walked among his disciples, his presence a beacon of calm and wisdom. Each act of compassion, no matter how small, creates ripples that touch lives beyond what we can see, he said. A kind word, a shared meal, or even a silent prayer carries the potential to transform hearts, he elaborated. The disciples nodded, their minds turning over the teachings, their hearts committing to acts of compassion in the days to come. Let us dedicate this day to the practice of compassion, expressing it through deeds that uplift others, the Buddha instructed. The disciples bowed deeply, their resolve firm to embody the wisdom they had received. By evening, the grove once again filled with the disciples, their spirits uplifted by the experiences of the day. One disciple, a young monk named Sudatta, spoke first, his voice trembling with emotion. Master, I shared my meal with a beggar today, and his eyes filled with gratitude, Sudatta began. In his joy, I felt a sense of fulfillment that words cannot capture, Sudatta continued, his voice soft yet resonant. The Buddha nodded, his expression radiating warmth and approval. Sudatta has touched upon a profound truth in giving. We receive more than we offer, he said. Other disciples shared their experiences, recounting moments where their acts of compassion had brought light to others and peace to themselves. The Buddha listened intently, his silence amplifying the significance of their words, his presence affirming their efforts. Compassion multiplies the blessings of gratitude, expanding its reach to uplift all beings, he said at last. As you continue your journey, remember that compassion is a practice, not an innate quality, the Buddha explained. It grows through deliberate effort, through mindfulness, and through the willingness to see others as reflections of yourself, he said. He returned to his seat, his posture unassuming yet filled with grace and authority. Tonight, reflect on how compassion has deepened your practice of gratitude and how it has enriched your understanding of interconnectedness, the Buddha instructed. Remember, the path of compassion is endless, leading always toward greater harmony and unity with all life, he concluded. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts brimming with the wisdom imparted that day, their spirits renewed with purpose. As the moon rose over Jetavana, its light bathed the grove in a silvery glow, the seeds of compassion taking root within each soul. Another day had passed, and with it, the teachings of gratitude and compassion became a living legacy. Carry this lesson with you, the Buddha said. Remember the lotus as you navigate your own storms and embrace life's impermanence. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.